Hello, everybody, and welcome to Two Geeks and One Noob, where we gather friends of similar interests and maybe not so similar, and discuss, joke, learn more about, and generally have fun with geek culture. We're back at it again with another Mount Rushmore topic.
This one seemed fitting to kind of counterbalance last time.
Yeah. So if you guys couldn't figure it out from this, we're kind of going through our like a Mount Rushmore theme. We'll break it up here and there, but thought it would be fun to just have like a small series of different things that are, top fours of a lot of things. So this time it's going to be movie heroes Mount Rushmore.
There will be a little bit of room for interpretation on that. Some may just be more of a protagonist and less hero, but I'll allow it.
Right.
So yeah, I'll allow it. We'll see. And granted, like, this isn't just a set in stone. Like, it has to be specifically heroes. Like, I didn't really think about it when I suggested the topic, but it makes sense. Like, there's going to be kind of that slightly gray area for some of the protagonist / hero characters.
Yeah.
So,
yep.
I mean, for my list, it varies a lot because one of them is absolute, yes, he's a hero, and then there's some that are okay, he's technically the hero of the story, but he's not. I wouldn't personally put him as a hero. Quote
you mean
unquote.
sort of just because you're a bad guy doesn't mean you're a bad guy.
Yeah, and there's one or two on my list that may kind of be lumped in that same category. So
yeah. Who wants to start us off?
I guess I'll start it off again I did last week. And
Go for it.
We can change it up. So continuing in the Star Wars theme with my first pick from last week, I went with Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Oh, nice.
Ewan McGregor's rendition of Obi-Wan Kenobi specifically.
Nice.
Because that, while I did grow up with the original trilogy, Ewan McGregor's portrayal of the character is what really resonated with me growing up. So yeah, it's just perfect casting choice.
Yeah.
It was just hello there. Yeah. And who from our generation doesn't hear hello there and immediately gets hit with the nostalgia? If you don't get hit with it, you're living life wrong.
or immediately want to respond, General Kenobi.
Yes, exactly. So I had to go with the Star Wars theme, as much as we've talked about Star Wars on this show, and just and with how much you guys know that I love Star Wars, I had to stick with it. So
yeah, it was a toss up for me to think about what you were gonna say, because it was either gonna be Luke or Obi-Wan. Because actually, originally I was thinking definitely Luke. But then when you just said it, I was like, oh, yeah, no, that makes more sense.
And then there's nothing wrong with Luke at all.
No.
If he's not on anyone else's list, he will absolutely be the first honorable mention. But yeah, Kenobi definitely resonated with me a little bit more. It was just seeing him kind of grow up more so than what we saw with Luke, which we saw him grow a lot throughout it, but it wasn't as widespread as it was with Obi-Wan. There's a lot more of a time gap there. And then also having Clone Wars to be able to bond with that character even more, and then video games to bond with the character and so on. So he was just that character that when we started thinking of this list, I didn't even hesitate. He was on there, and then I was like, okay, what are the other three?
Yep, definitely.
Yeah. So my first pick, going back to the last episode, there was a very clear trend where all my villains were almost caricatures of their specific traits.
Mm-hmm.
But in a way that made them believable.
Right.
My first pick actually breaks that monotony up a little bit. So my first pick is Samwise Gamgee.
Hey, there you go.
Yeah, I know you called it. Figure you did too. Yeah, Sam is one of the, in my opinion, unsung heroes of the original series. Not the original series, but of Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
And not so much in our generation now, but whenever the books were first coming out, it was more about Frodo or Gandalf or Aragorn. All great characters. But Sam is one of those people who is very pointedly no, I need to do this because it's right. And also, I don't care if I get the glory.
Yeah.
It's betrayed a little bit in the books, but we're talking about the movies. So,
well, and it's he was kind of that constant light for Frodo. Yeah. With everything he was going through. The other characters were there, but there was always that level of doubt from time to time with all of them. And while like Frodo did deal with some of that with Sam at one point as well, Sam was still there. Sam always had his back. Like he was the ultimate bro. He was always there, regardless.
Yeah, and it's very similar to my thoughts for some of my, especially one of my list. For Samwise, it's definitely he had that pure of heart, like genuine hero. Just like he has your back. He like no selfishness whatsoever.
Yep.
Like that's why he didn't take the ring, was because he was like, nope, I don't want it. I can't carry it, but I can carry you. You know, like,
and it was like, even when he did offer to help carry the ring, it was never with selfish intention of trying to get it, like what Boromir did. It was like genuine, I want to help my friend.
Yeah.
You are important to me. You need help. Let me help you.
Yeah. There was no temptation there for him.
Yeah. So I mean, for me, Sam is one of those characters who definitively fits the description of a servant leader.
Yeah.
Where it's more of, I'm not necessarily going to tell you what to do, but I'm going to do whatever I can to make sure you can do what you need to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Very nice. So to kind of come off of your list, that first top one there, going straight back into Lord of the Rings, my first one is Legolas. Has to be Legolas.
Nice.
I mean, one of my favorite things about fantasy type movies and that genre is elves and bows and arrows. Like that's top tier for me. But like to call him a hero, because like he wasn't the front runner. Like he wasn't the one that everybody was like looking to, you know, to follow and to have as a leader, but he was still there. He was still helping. He was still unselfishly helping. And then to, you know, have the thoughts with the differences between him and the dwarves and stuff like that, and to change his mind to know, like, this is a one goal here. Let me, you know, change my mind to what this main goal is.
Yeah. Put aside what doesn't matter to focus on what does.
Right. The unselfishness of it is, I think, again, what makes a hero in my mind.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So Legolas, top tier for me.
To keep the theme going, and yours kind of ties into the same thing with mine, is like my next pick is Gimli.
Yeah.
And it's like the dynamic between those two is like, it starts off very much like somewhat of a spiteful, or like, I am here because you don't want me here and I'm going to prove you wrong kind of thing. But then by the end of it, with that mutual respect and admiration and whatnot, and it's just, and for me, like dwarf characters, like that's me. I'm an earthbender. Like it just is what it is. Like I know my place. It's all good. And just like with his dynamic, kind of similar to what you said, it's just like that putting aside the selfish goals and the ambitions and saying, no, like there's a greater evil that we need to take care of and we need to work together in order to do this. And just sticking with it. And it's like, even in situations where it's just like, I'm too short for running across these big fields. What am I doing? Just sticking with it and really like pushing himself to like, no, I'm going to help these people. And initially spite driven, but as time goes on, it's like, no, this is genuinely the right thing I need to do.
And again, like that camaraderie and them two, like it was so hard for me not to put both of them in one spot in my list, because that's what made both of them such a heroic thing for me. It was that their relationship it went from spite to kind of some respect and then absolute friendship at the end.
Friendship and acknowledgement.
Yeah.
I'd say more friendship, less friendship and more fraternity between the two.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Like going through what they went through, like that's an unbreakable bond that they share now. So
yeah.
What's that line that they said, that Legolas said? Something about like I'll fight.
I never thought I would die fighting next to an elf. And Legolas turns to him and says, "How about fighting next to a friend?"
Yep.
Yeah.
Just like a little behind the scenes thing is like Dan texted is like, so what do you think about me using two characters together for this and like as a single pairing? And he said those two. I was like, well, you can do that, or I can just tag team that with you because he's on my list. So.
In which case, guys, I just got to say it for y'all's y'all's last entries. That still only counts as one.
Well played.
You were not expecting that, were you?
No, I was not.
Well played.
Not until you, like, right before you said it. I was
well played.
he's gonna say it.
It makes me think of that Homer Simpson or the Bart Simpson meme, like, say the thing, say the thing.
I cast Eldritch Blast.
Right. The Warlock bread and butter.
So yeah, like those two, like Gimli is a big one for me, and then obviously Legolas is a big one for Dan. So it's like it just made sense that we went with it, and then it just worked out that we like both were in the same.
And then to have
Sam.
David say Sam, it's like, come on. It's not like we're friends or anything.
No, right? Yeah, no, not at all. It's not like we would start a podcast together or anything.
Right. All about this stuff. Right?
Is this also spite driven?
I certainly hope not.
It might end up that way. It might be the opposite. It's all friendship until the end.
On that cheery note, David, what's your second?
Yeah, cheery indeed. My second choice is actually Stephen Bloom from the Brothers Bloom.
Oh, wow. Okay.
You're right. He's not the typical hero at all. And in fact, if you know the storyline of the movie, he's kind of this mastermind con man. He's the older of the two brothers. But the entire subplot of the movie, his brother is searching for something more, searching for something genuine, because the younger brother feels as though everything he's done is all some character that Stephen has written.
Mm-hmm.
And so the subplot of the movie, Stephen is trying to set up this one last big con for the two of them so they can just go on about their lives.
Mm-hmm.
With his greatest lesson is the best con is where everyone gets something they wanted.
Mm-hmm.
And all Stephen ever wanted was to not be in the way of his brother.
Okay.
And so him writing this last big con, he writes this character for his brother to kind of remind him, like, this is who you were before we got into this.
Mm.
And I mean, if you haven't seen the movie, highly recommend it. Great film.
Yeah, I haven't seen it, and every time someone says it, I always think Brothers Grimm. So
Very different movie.
as soon as you started talking about what it was like, okay, not that. Okay,
Right.
It.
Yes. Yeah, but he's going to be my number 2 pick.
Nice. I like it. I don't know it, but I like it.
With the exception of the Lord of the Rings ones, it's always interesting to see like how different our picks are.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yep. So for my second, I'm actually trying to figure out which one I want to say next, because
I guess there's not really necessarily a particular order to this.
It's definitely not an order for mine because they're all great. I think one would probably technically make my number 1 because it's MCU, but but I didn't say it that way because
there's one
I
for
wanted
Dan
to
Bingo.
go Lord of the Rings. What'd you say?
There's one for the Dan Bingo.
Shut up.
So we love you.
I'll go with that one because I think this person definitely, this hero embodies heroism to the fullest extent, I think. And it's Captain America, Steve Rogers.
Yep.
It had to go with that one. It was either that or Spider-Man, but this one...
That was the toss-up, and then as soon as you said embodies hero, I was like, okay, yeah, no, I know where he's going.
Because Captain America... Okay, so there's multiple reasons why he's on my list. Is number 1, he had the most consistent movies, I feel like. He had the most consistent morals throughout the whole thing. He... was unselfish. He was always, looking out for the little guy. He was, no matter who hurt him, he was still there for them and stuff like that. And he saved the world like 17 million times. So, so it definitely Captain America, Steve Rogers. I will say definitely the Steve Rogers version, not like I like the other versions of him, but of Captain America, but Steve Rogers
Well, as
is
far as
the one.
movie portrayals, that's also the only
Oh, that's
one
true.
we've got.
Yeah,
So-
that was a TV show. That's right.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah, you could have like easily just bet me $1 million. I was like, oh yeah, that's absolutely on the list for
Right.
you.
Yep.
But yeah.
My third pick is a bit of a nostalgic pick.
Okay.
And let me explain it a little bit after I say it. So my third pick is Rick O'Connell from the Mummy movies.
Oh man.
Nice.
Yeah. Okay.
So like I
That's
know
a
that
good
he
one.
doesn't really like have that typical like hero vibe, I guess. Like he's more of in that protagonist category.
Mhm.
But it was just his character and the moments. It was like the genuine like emotional moments from the second movie, especially just seeing like him going through these trials and the difficult times and like kind of learning. And it's like, I have to adapt to get through this and to survive and get the people I care about through this.
Mhm.
And also those moments where it's just like, he may not win this.
Right,
Actually.
yeah.
Like there's genuine possibility that he will not win in the end. And it's just, again, and Brendan Fraser's portrayal of the character too is just like so
Spot on.
good.
Yep.
So good. And
I was gonna say the cool thing is that he doesn't start out the hero.
yeah,
That
exactly.
He's like in jail and all that
And
kind of stuff.
that is something that I always like anyone that knows me with my anime pick, like Vegeta's top tier character, like absolute favorite character. And he is another one that, and him and like Android 17 both are like very much not the hero when they
Right.
show up. And
Yeah.
so it's like that person that like goes through that development and kind of like gets their comeuppance and is like, okay, no, I need to change my ways a little bit.
Yeah.
Or even like reluctantly, like I will fight alongside you for my own goals, and then kind of develops over time. And it's also just the idea is like there's the little hints is like not totally reformed from that hero side of things. It's like, you're right, you're gonna get shot. It's just like it's not something a hero would say, but that's friggin' funny.
Right.
Yeah.
But yeah, redemption stories are always really cool too. It's never a bad thing to
Yeah, and
see
having
that.
grown up with the two Mummy movies and then the third one later, which I realized wasn't as good as the other ones, but I still did enjoy it personally.
Agreed.
But it's like having grown up with that, it was definitely a nostalgic thing. And then the just like you said, that redemption story, that's always been a fun one for me. And those characters definitely stand out for me.
Very nice.
Nice. Yeah, for me, third one, another nostalgia pick, is going to be Captain Navarre from Lady Hawk.
Oh, dude. That's hilarious because number one, I did not expect that. Number two, that was on my dad's list.
Yes. I see he's a man of culture.
Yes. It was one I grew up watching because it was one of his favorite movies.
Same.
So, yeah.
Yeah, and very quickly became a favorite of mine. But his character is very, again, more protagonist than hero.
Yeah.
He's pointedly in it for himself to start with.
Hmm.
But then as he realizes, like, hang on, this guy that I want revenge on he's oppressing y'all? Well, cool. That means I'm going to look good in y'all's eyes. And then as he gets to know those people, it's more of a matter of, I'm not doing this for me anymore.
Yeah. The lone wolf that
Pun intended.
tons. Yeah. Literally the lone wolf. Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
So, I mean, what starts out as a very simple plot point just kind of falls to the wayside for his actual character arc to develop.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Captain Navarre is definitely one of my big picks.
Have you seen that, Caleb?
No, I haven't.
Okay.
Yep, movie night.
It's an old movie, but
You already know I haven't seen a lot
that's
of
true.
old
It's
movies.
very true.
It's like the movie list of what I'm supposed to watch never gets shorter.
Always adding to it. Yep.
It's like the Hydra list. One movie crossed off, 3 more show up.
Hey, is Hercules on the list?
No, that one I did see.
All right. Well, next one up on my list. I keep going back and forth on which ones to say first because, like, I want to surprise y'all, but I don't know if I will. So I'll go with Hiccup from How to Train Your Dragons. Again, just one of those like awesome. Like it starts out as like the nerdy kid and
like the unassuming
hero. Yeah, exactly. And then it just turns out where he's the most powerful out of all of them because he's friends with a dragon.
Well, like, and the fact that he like completely changed the dynamic of his people and their entire thought process on life. And like,
he saved his people. He saved the dragons. He, like you said, changed.
He found a way to save both sides without there being major losses on either.
Yeah. Well, that, and also he was kind of the outcast despite his position.
Yeah.
I mean, he's born to the leader of his people, but then no one pays attention because, okay, here's that kid drawing pictures of dragons and daydreaming that one day we'll be friends with them.
Right.
Yeah, right. Oh, that's a neat design. Cool. Mine now.
Anybody else relate to him at all?
Yeah, like he's a great pick just because, like you guys said, it's like he was someone that was like born into this position where he's like, I'm going to have to be a leader, but no one views me as a leader. And he just decided, you know what, we're doing this live. I'm going to prove all of you wrong.
Yeah. Even with like the invention to take down Toothless was like, holy cow, where did that come from? And then all of a sudden it turns around. But
yeah.
But yeah, it's so fun. I love those movies.
Yeah.
I keep going back and forth on which movie's my favorite too, because like the first one is classic.
Yeah.
But then the third one, I feel like
still need to see the third one. Like it's been on the list for a while. I didn't get into those movies until like later on after they had already come out. And so by the time the third one came out, I was like just barely getting to watch the second one. And at the time I didn't have anyone to go see the third one with. So
man,
who says you need anyone to go see those movies with?
Yes, but there's some movies that's just more fun to go with people.
True.
This
Very
is
true.
true.
Yeah. I will say that seeing those in theaters, those are some of the few animated films to actually have me crying.
Yeah.
The second and third one in particular.
Yeah, I think the third one definitely got me. First one, not so much. Second one had moments, but not full on.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I know people that have gotten genuinely emotional in all three of them, and even just talking about them, like start to get emotional. So,
see, I get more excited about it than emotional.
Yeah,
it's funny that you mentioned that, and I just see your Toothless figured out.
Oh yeah, of course. I had to get. I've wanted to do.
Have you not seen him down there?
I have. It's just I was looking right at it when he mentioned Hiccup there. So.
I wanted to do the Build-A-Bear Toothless for a long time, and I think it ended up going out of
circulation. It was only there for like 3 months, I think.
Yeah. So when my wife and I saw this particular thing at like Target or something, she's like, "Go ahead, get it." I was like, "Thank you." I love my wife. She's awesome. But yeah, Caleb, what's your next one?
The fourth pick, and this one, it's a very new movie, but it weirdly gets the nostalgia, and that's Guy from Free Guy.
Oh yeah, yep.
That is just my love of video games, having played video games my whole life, and the little like nods to like things that I've either seen or done myself in video games, and just the fun of his character starting off as like this regular guy that's like doesn't even like his name is Guy. He's just there.
Yep.
And it's like becoming like what he was and like becoming this hero. It's like, again, another kind of unassuming hero that's like no one thought anything of.
Blue shirt guy.
Yeah, blue shirt guy. And just that again, that tie into video games, which is like a big thing for me and like something I've done my entire life.
Yeah.
Just all the nostalgia. And then, of course, like, quick shout out, we got to see our boy Jacksepticeye, like, fantastic YouTuber. So, like,
and Captain America, actually.
True. Yeah. So, yeah, like, I had to go with, I was torn on between Guy and like one or two other characters that are on my honorable mention. And I ended up going with Guy just because of like it being a new movie that did bring on some sort of feel of nostalgia. I was just like, okay, like, and just like his kind of development throughout the movie, starting off as just goofy guy,
level 0 to
to what he became is just like, it just stood out to me. And he's like one of those characters that I've loved, that I now love. And Ryan Reynolds' portrayal is just fantastic. He's just kind of gone from being like a rom-com guy to like being one of my favorite actors. So
yeah, Ryan Reynolds definitely, again, top tier actor for me too.
Fancy Ryan? Ryan? Yes, please reach out.
David.
Yeah. So my
Noodle
third,
Thor.
my final pick. I was debating not throwing him in there because I figured for folks who know me, it would have been too obvious a pick. But genuinely, they're right.
Mm-hmm.
Captain Malcolm Reynolds from Serenity.
Well, yeah. Okay.
he was the one I was going back and forth on the free guy.
Yes. Yeah.
Nathan Fillion.
Yes. And not just because of, well, let's face it, no one can play that character after Fillion.
Mm.
One, Nathan was the only portrayal of him. Two, Nathan, as we've seen him in interviews, is Malcolm Reynolds,
Right.
minus the laser pistol.
Yeah. And
And he
considering
even
he's
dressed as that character
Yeah.
in Castle.
I was
for-
just about to
Multiple
say that. Yep.
Multiple
What are you, a
times.
space pirate?
Dad, you did
Yes.
that last year and the year before that. What are you going to replace that costume? No.
that is like, it is still to this day one of my absolute top favorite movie lines is like, or just lines in general is like, if that hand touches metal, I swear by my pretty floral bonnet, I will end you.
Yep. But again, we have a very flawed character who may or may not be doing things for the right reason, but is always won over by the sense of, no, this is actually going to serve more than just me.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I have to say, I'm glad that made it to a movie so that you could say that.
Thank you.
Because the show was great. I liked it a lot.
I'm glad y'all enjoyed it.
Yeah. I just watched it more recently when you let me borrow it. So, and then I watched Serenity later on. I was like, oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
He's just one of those characters that like really gets your attention just from the whole thing. Like, especially like if we're specifically talking about the movie, just in the very beginning, it was like, was that a piece of my ship that just flew off in the middle?
Yep.
Hey.
I think also his dynamic with, I'm sorry,
No,
you're good. I think also just the dynamic he had with his entire crew.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Really
He had
added
a very particular friendship and relationship with each member. It wasn't just as generic, yeah, cool, I work with you. It's more of a, no, I know each of you.
Yeah. And it wasn't just this generic, like, we trust him no matter what. And it was like, there was genuine moments where it was like, I don't know if I can trust you right now because I don't understand why you're making the decision you're making.
Right.
Yeah.
And just that back and forth with the crew and like,
Yeah, especially with the Tams.
yeah.
Yeah. Or in the case of Jane, that was a pointedly hard fought respect that he earned.
Mm. Yeah.
But that's more show than movie.
Yeah.
But you see pieces of that in the movie as well.
Oh, yeah.
Definitely.
Yep.
Yeah. So for my fourth one, I have to explain this one a little bit because it does go into that more protagonist side of things because he is the hero of the story, but my wife and I were talking about this earlier and we're like, he doesn't necessarily personify a hero.
I think honestly, most of our picks have kind of been in that category,
Yeah.
with the
Yes and
exception
no.
of like Sam and Obi-Wan
Right,
and Captain America. Like most of them haven't just been outright hero.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't know about y'all, but I think flawed heroes make the best heroes.
Agreed.
That's true. I'm just saying it for my list because most of mine were like, most of mine had that heroic side of them, or mostly heroic. This one, not so much. He had more of the selfish gains to his heroism. And it's William Thatcher from A Knight's Tale.
Nice.
So the whole movie was him being selfish, like becoming a knight or like a fake knight to, not wanting to run away because he still wanted to change his stars and stuff like that.
Yeah.
He had his friendships with Watt and Roland, and then later on the girl
And Chaucer.
and Chaucer. Yeah, that's what how could I forget Chaucer?
Right?
But yeah, like he wasn't necessarily a hero, but he was I'm struggling to figure out how to.
He was kind of like hero by default, I guess.
Yeah.
And then it's like he did have selfish motives, like you said, but in the end, like he did the right thing, even if it wasn't doing it to do the right thing.
Yeah,
He did it because it was like kind of what was blocking him from achieving his goal.
Right.
I would also argue that selfish may not be the right description, but this could be splitting hairs, and depending on your frame of mind with this particular term, it may make him even less of a protagonist.
Mm-hmm.
He was kind of more opportunistic than anything else.
Right. Yeah. Like he saw an opportunity and was like, okay, well,
Sweet,
this could be what changes my stars.
Right.
But then also, like you said, at the end, it did kind of change that to, like taking out the bad guy that was like kind of oppressing people and like, being just a jerk to everybody.
Yeah.
And I think he was. Didn't they say something about in the movie that he was like pillaging and stuff the towns that he was going into?
Well, that guy had like
Adamar.
I think Adamar was doing that because he wanted to compete with William, because William was like dominating the circuit when in his absence, and it was a selfish goal for both of them.
Yeah,
it was a selfish villain and a selfish hero, and that they both had these very specific things. And Adamar was like, "No, I am the best. I am going to prove to you that I am the best at any cost."
Yeah,
and whereas William was just like, "I just want to live a better life. I don't really care."
Yeah, yeah. And again, like bringing his friends along with him to bolster them as well. It ended up being something good for that as well.
Yeah, it went from all of these individual selfish goals to like, okay, no, we've actually bonded despite the initial selfish start, and created something more out of this than what we really expected.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And also just the movie was amazing.
Oh yes.
It was.
Who can forget hearing Queen played out of trumpets?
Right.
There's some very advanced trumpets.
And the people in the background.
Yes.
Yeah.
The other thing I like, even just about the film, is it's still grounded enough in history where the time frame they're saying it's going to happen, some of the other ancillary plot points happening to kind of keep it tethered in actual history.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So like the whole reason why Adamar isn't there for so long is because he's on the front. He's fighting against the French.
Yeah.
And that war actually happened.
Yep.
And the prince who comes and kind of frees
that was the other thing I was going to mention.
Was a real person.
Yeah.
And the
Prince Edward, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And the small details they have about Prince Edward were also accurate. He never did marry. He was loved by his people.
Mm-hmm.
He never did marry. He never did fully rule.
Yeah.
But he was still given the rights of rule.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was the other thing I was going to mention too about the movie, was that he, like the prince, ends up being more so the hero.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because he
very much so, yeah.
he had
prince
a very
came in
unselfish,
and saved him when, by all intents and purposes, he should not have been saved.
Yeah. And I always wonder too if the records that they supposedly found were true or not.
Yeah, there's definitely that question of it for sure. It's just like,
I think that's in the same category as did the totem fall over whenever he went to go hug his kids at the end, or did it not? It's one of those things where it's meant to keep drawing you back to the film to wonder, well, hang on, how did it really end after the credits start rolling?
Yeah.
Outside of the
like
drinking game.
The movie itself may have had this happy conclusion to it, but was there actually a happy conclusion into the life of these characters after this?
Yeah, because he was made a knight, so maybe he went off to war and died.
Right. So we're like, yeah, you win. Good luck.
I've always wanted to be a knight. I don't want to be a knight anymore.
I regret my decisions.
Oh man.
All right. So the last time you opened it up to a bunch of people to bring their own lists and stuff. Did you guys do that for any of your connections, or was I the only one?
Not this time, because you had said that you were going to do it. So I was like, all right, leave it to you this time. I'll have my own honorable mention list.
And I've got
But
mine.
I'll leave it to you
Yeah.
for
Okay,
the
all right.
like.
So I ended up asking almost all of my family what they're, and I have a big family, so I won't go through all of them, but
Oh, okay.
but so my brother, my older brother, he sent me his list, and I guess I'll just kind of go through quickly what his were, or what some of them were. So he went and said Daniel LaRusso from Karate Kid, Rocky,
Okay.
Ethan Hunt from Mission Impossible, and Indiana Jones.
There you
Only
go.
reason I didn't put Indiana Jones in there for one of mine was besides all the other ones that I was finding, was that the whole thing about whether or not Indiana Jones was there, it still would have happened the whole way through. That's the only reason why I didn't put him in there.
Yeah,
Even
that's
in
fair.
the honorable mentions.
Yeah, but he does definitely have one of the best theme songs.
That's true.
Oh, without a doubt.
Yeah. My little brother Caleb, he said he's not so little anymore, but Batman, Spider-Man, Iron Man, and Wolverine.
Nice.
So yeah, all superheroes. I do want to go through, especially my sisters, I think, because they're kind of off the wall ones that I never would have expected. So she said Katniss Everdeen,
Okay.
Captain Picard.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Huh.
Leopold from Kate and Leopold.
Oh, wait, hang on. Back up. Captain Picard. Which Captain Picard?
There is only one Captain Picard.
In movies? No, there's two.
Well, that's not Captain Picard technically.
Fine.
He's a clone of Captain Picard, but he's not technically Captain Picard.
Okay. Never mind.
He
Sorry.
has a whole alien name and all that.
Right. Okay. Fine. Sorry.
Besides, that movie was kind of eh.
Yes.
But
I'm sorry. I'll shut up.
And then James Preston from The Passengers.
I don't know if I've seen that.
I personally wouldn't put it as a hero technically, but I was like, okay, it's her pick. That's fine.
Okay. All right.
But
Yeah,
all the other,
those
the
are
other
pretty
three are like,
interesting
yeah, really good.
picks.
Yeah. That's good.
I will say from my dad's, he said Navarre.
Yes. Oh, you said that already.
Yeah.
And I responded the exact same way, I believe.
I won't go through all of these because I don't think any one of us would really know them. But he did also say Luke Skywalker. And then my mom's. She said Mr. Darcy from Pride and Prejudice. P.T. Barnum.
Okay.
I have to preface this a little bit because she said anything Hugh Jackman. I had her just pick one. So she said P.T. Barnum. Colonel Brandon from Sense and Sensibility. And Gregory Larkin from Mirror Has Two Faces. Yeah. Very interesting ones, huh? And then I have my honorable mentions, but I'll let you guys go through yours.
So a few of the honorable mentions I had John Wick.
Okay.
Because like that's just such a good choice. Keanu's making it mid his return. Like I couldn't not pick it.
Right.
And just like for me, I liked the realism of the action and the fighting that they were doing. Like that was something that stood out to me. And knowing the work that Keanu put in for the character, like going through the actual SWAT training to get to that point, like that was just really impressive. John McClane had to go with John McClane,
Of course.
Jack Sparrow,
Okay.
because like, of course, Mao, which we already discussed, and then specifically Christian Bale's Batman,
Okay.
Jason Momoa's Aquaman, and Henry Cavill's Superman.
Nice.
And I had to go with Henry Cavill's Superman because of like just the way that he was portrayed in Man of Steel and that like scene at the end with Zod, which spoiler alert, but the movie's been out for a long time, so you missed your chance. And that ending moment with Zod when he's looking at the family and seeing this like, okay, I have to go against my morals and I have to do something I do not want to do because if I don't, I am allowing them to die and I have to kill Zod. That is my only choice. And just seeing that like genuine emotion.
Yeah.
It was like anyone that knows me knows I hate Superman. I do not like that character period. But Henry Cavill did such a fantastic job that I have to recognize the work that he did.
Mm-hmm. DC, be listening. They won't, but be listening.
They could.
Could. And then my last pick was, of course, Aragorn.
Yeah.
Yep.
Very nice. Very nice.
So I had 4, and you already hit on 3 of them. So John Wick, not because I thought it was too recent or anything, but more because he kind of toes the line between anti-hero and protagonist to me. He's very much a flawed hero.
Yeah.
But he's so much a flawed hero that he dabbles into anti-hero.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
If that tracks.
And anti-heroes is one that, especially with the two of us in particular, always stands out.
Yeah.
Like, a good anti-hero is always going to get our attention.
Yep. So my second one, you hit on sort of, and I'm going to do something weird here and basically call him out twice. As Batman, clearly Christian Bale. As Bruce Wayne, I'm going to hand it to Pattinson. He portrays a very confused, very young, and attempting to maintain innocence Bruce Wayne.
Mm-hmm.
Huh.
Which for a year 1 storyline is spot on for his character arc.
Yeah.
And he portrays that character very well, and you see that duality between the two, where you can almost hear him thinking constantly, like, hang on, who am I really?
Yeah.
So in that regard, kind of being sneaky on that one and adding him twice.
It's Batman.
Yeah. Aragorn. Because duh. And then Rick Blaine from Casablanca.
Oh, wow.
I was debating putting him on there, but again, that was more of the debate between hero and protagonist. He is a hero, but much like Gimli joining in, Gimli and Legolas joining in on the Fellowship, most of what he did was out of pure spite. And so at the end of the movie, it's no longer about this fact of spite, but it's now, Humphrey Bogart delivers the line beautifully. And it's probably the most famous line from the movie is "Play it again, Sam."
Mm-hmm.
And if you've seen the film, you know the background on what he's saying. And it's this very loaded statement to say, I can't do it for me anymore. I have to do it for somebody else.
Yeah. Huh. Okay. It's been a really long time since I've seen that, so I'm blanking on the whole thing about it. But
yeah, let's spare our audience that one for another time, maybe. Yeah, maybe. Don't worry.
Nice. I mean, some of mine were kind of hit on already, like the Aragorn Spider-Man.
Which version of Spider-Man?
Oh, good point.
That is very
because
good
I
point.
know that you have different preferences. So I was like, I wasn't going to ask for your brother, but I know you will have some preference there.
Yeah. I mean, my absolute favorite Spider-Man was Tom Holland.
He just did such a phenomenal job.
I think all around he was the best Spider-Man.
Yeah.
I think the other two had good things about them.
Yeah. One was a good Spider-Man. The other was a good Peter Parker. But Tom Holland just was like, no, I own this. This is my character.
Well, hang on. You're forgetting one.
Are you talking about the old Japanese one?
No, not talking about that one.
All right.
Because that was a show, not a movie.
Oh, okay.
But no, I'm talking about Into the Spider-Verse.
Oh, that's true.
Now, granted, he was not necessarily the hero of that movie. He was not the main hero of that movie.
Of Into the Spider-Verse?
Yeah.
He ended up being the main
He ended up
hero.
being part of the team. But he was still the one that everyone had to drag around.
At the very end, he's the one who defeated Kingpin.
I'm
Because
gonna have
all
to watch
the
it
other
again.
all the other ones went back to their original
You're right.
worlds.
You're right.
Yep.
Yeah. Well,
So
now
he
I have an
ends
excuse to watch that one again.
Right. As if you didn't already with the new one coming out.
True.
As if you need an excuse to watch a good movie again.
Right?
Very fair point. Well, moving on.
But yeah, no, like all the other ones that I had were, I mean, Han Solo, Jason Bourne,
course.
Jack Reacher, Iron Man,
No, the only accurate Jack Reacher was in a show.
And there's where we differ. I do like that show, though.
Yeah.
John Krasinski all the way. Yes, it is Jack Reacher. Am I thinking? Oh, that's Jack Ryan. I'm sorry.
Yes.
That's Jack Ryan. Too many Jacks, all right?
Just the look of genuine concern and
Jack,
frustration
have it.
on David's face for a second there.
I was about to say, you don't know Jack, but.
Got it.
Well played.
I do know Jack, just the wrong Jack.
There you go.
But yeah, that's about it for me.
Oh, that's it for me as well.
All right.
Well, thank you everyone for listening. We hope that you are enjoying this Mount Rushmore series that we've been doing. We will be doing more down the road, as Dan alluded to earlier. We are going to break it up a little bit so we don't just oversaturate the Mount Rushmore topic for you guys. But if you are enjoying this, please check out Instagram. We'd love to see some comments of maybe some heroes or villains that you enjoy from the last 2 episodes. If not, we'll see you in the future. Thanks, everyone.